Okay, so I'm not crazy. Am I crazy? Okay, my being crazy has nothing to do with this particular thing. Got it. All right. So, yesterday, as I was playing the game, I went to make a deck. I was making some Invincible decks because I was going to play 5 different decks featuring Mr. Invincible, like Invincible Aleph, Invincible Overlord, Invincible Alfred, among other decks. Invincible, well, I was going to do Invincible Amon, but I think Invincible No Life King Death Anchor makes more sense. Either way, I was planning on playing that particular style of deck with Mr. Invincible. And as I was making the Royal Paladin deck for Invincible Alfred, what do I find when I'm looking through the menu? Well, you can see over here that Barkle, this was 4 days ago, shows as being banned as the starting Vanguard. So you can see it says FV for first Vanguard, red circle with a line through it, banned as starting Vanguard. So, color me surprised when I get over into the game and it shows that you actually can select Barkle as a starting Vanguard. So just going over to deck build, we'll go ahead and make a new vintage deck recipe. And then we will go ahead and first search for grade zeros and grade zeros that are banned as first Vanguard. Well, now it's saying that nothing shows up when Barkle originally showed up. So let's remove banned as first Vanguard and then switch to Royal Paladin. You can see here's Barkle, and that first Vanguard restriction has been completely removed. So this is incredible news. This means that you can run Barkle in any of your given Royal Paladin decks with no real consequence, because now if you need the 5 soul for Soul Saver, he's there. If you want to just run Flogels and keep calling them to your back row for 5k beaters, you can do that. You can run skewed ratios to make this work. You can have only 2 grade 2s in your entire Royal Paladin deck, or any other given deck that you want, and you can have 17 grade 3s. I've done that before. Everything is back on the menu, and I am so happy about it. A particular feeling enters my mind, and that feeling is something like this.
You're as beautiful as the day I lost you.
So that being said, I'm just ecstatic, because for those of you who are familiar with me, there is one deck that I have always loved throughout the entirety of my Vanguard career, and that deck is Soul-based Royal Paladins. Soul-based Royal Paladins focusing specifically on 2 cards, Young Pegasus Knight and Great Sage Baron. They are both effectively the same thing as Doreen the Thruster, only Young Pegasus Knight came out the set before Doreen. And Great Sage Baron is Doreen the Thruster as a grade 2, which I wish that they had implemented much earlier for Dark Irregulars. Then I would have just switched to Dark Irregulars and never had to worry about Royal Paladin ever again. But here we are, we're back with Soul-based Royal Paladins, and I am ecstatic. So now that Barkle is unbanned, this means that, you know, the 17 grade 3 deck where you have Pendragon that superior rides into an Exculpate and then gives your Gornement a bunch of bonus power, that deck is back on the menu. Any deck where you want to have skewed riding ratios, where you only have, say, 2 grade 2s, those are back on the menu. So let's say you wanted to have an Asura Kaiser deck and you just wanted to stuff it filled with as many grade 3s as you can. Well, you can just run grade 1 Royal Paladins and then 2 Blaster Blade, and now you can run the remainder of your deck as grade 3 Nova Grappler cards. There's so much that we can do with this. There's only one potential downside that I'm seeing to this right now, and that's that I do believe that if they are going to make it unlimited in every sense, and if Barkle isn't going to be banned, then that does mean that when the set 3 metagame comes out, we're going to have to deal with the absolute ridiculousness of DDD and Vague, because Nouvelle Vague is just an absolutely bonkers ridiculous card with guard restrict and high power and trigger nullification, on top of getting more power from the cross ride, or from the break ride, and then getting to restand again. So that deck is probably going to be really annoying. They banned that fairly quickly in the original metagame for the basically season 3 metagame. We'll have to deal with that. I'm assuming they're not going to have the ban list for Vintage going forward. except potentially when we get into the mid-G series, I could see them banning things like the Seven Seas cards, or maybe Odysseus, so that ripples aren't so ridiculously dominant. That being said, it's been the case that they've been making the rules very consistent to how the rules were at the time that that particular set and vintage was implemented. That may mean that when we get Stride will be as it was, so Grade 1 Rush may be really strong. Or it could be the case that they alter the rules in order to make it more fair and make it so that, you know, maybe a card like Sabriz comes out a little bit earlier, or maybe other cards that allow you to get that generation break unlocked are going to exist. That being said, that's all speculation and into the far future. For right now, I'm just going to enjoy my Barky boy. Anyway, I wanted to give this particular announcement. I was going to do a Let's Play featuring those Invincible decks, but that's going to be for tomorrow now. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. Have a good one.